Welcome back. Okay, so I know it's been a couple weeks. We've had a crazy couple weeks. Um, all right, so the first thing I wanted to show was, okay, this is the quilted Farmall quilt, all done. So my next step is actually going to be trimming the sides, and then it'll be binding. So this video will mainly be on the trimming, and a few items that I use before I do that or during the process. And then there will be a separate video on binding mainly because I have to figure out what I'm going to use for a binding. Okay. So these are this is my rotary cutter that I have been using. Yeah, it works pretty good. I wish it was a little bit more ergonomic with the straight handle. I do have arthritis in my hands that gets pretty bad sometimes. So that does hurt. So I'm kind of on a hunt to figure out what, a different rotary cutter that would not hurt my hand so much. One item I do like, I love this. This was pretty inexpensive. I can't remember. I think it was like somewhere 10 to 15 maybe. I'd have to look it up, but it's a True Cut. Let's see, easy, safe, and accurate. And it's very easy. Comes like this out of the package. You don't need to put anything together. So what it does, basically, all you do, if you feel that your blade is starting to get nicked, you just run it through just like this a few times, and it sharpens up your blade. I feel that it works pretty good, and I know there's different items out there. I've not tried any of those. I know there's like electric ones that I'm sure work great, but this one is the most inexpensive. And probably before I end the video, I'll go and look up and see what this is worth, or what its current pricing is. I want to say I got this from Joann's. Yeah, I got it over a year ago. That's why I don't remember what I paid for it. Something else that I like to use, especially, I mean, they got a dog on here, but wow, it's my kitty cats. So this one I actually got from a tag sale. I never had used them before, and I didn't realize exactly, that they were just masking tape. But it works wonderful. So I may get a couple more of these. So every time you fill one of these up, you just peel this off. And probably a lot of people know about this thing, I'm sure, because this is actually, yeah. So you just peel that off, and then you got a fresh one underneath. But this has been great. Anybody who's seen my videos know that I have a cat bomber that likes to come into my videos all the time. Actually, two of them. One of them in particular. Shockingly enough, they did not follow me down today. I was very surprised. But as you can see, though, if they had followed me down, they'd be sprawled out on my quilt. So I'm actually happy they didn't follow me today. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to adjust and get this all lined up and just show you how I trim it. I mean, it's a very simple process. There's a couple ways you can do it, but I'm going to go with the safe way of trimming and, trying to keep it as square as possible. So I'm going to pause this for a moment, and I will be right back once I get everything all situated. Okay, we're back. All right, so what I've done here is, this is actually the top of the quilt. So this is where I want to start from the top and then turn it and work on the sides and then to the bottom. I don't think that there is an actual, there probably ain't really an advantage to doing that. I just like to do it that way. Also, I apologize now, I am left-handed. So sometimes doing things left-handed can confuse some people, or people like me who are left-handed enjoy it. And I will say that's probably why I enjoy watching Missouri Star videos, because the owner Jenny is left-handed, and why I gravitated towards her videos, because her brain sort of thinks like mine. It's left-handed. So, all right. So what I'm doing here now, I see there is a little bit of binding that is just past the end here. So what I want to do is I want to try to square that up as much as possible. So I got the straight edge of the ruler against the side, and then I'm lining it up here against the top, the long side of the ruler. Now, another way that you could do this is you could take the whole quilt and fold it in half. The reason I do not do that, basically because of this reason, sometimes my edges are a little in and out on either side. So I feel like if I had folded it in half, trying to save a step or save half a step, I feel like that could bite me. And I could have a problem where if I did that, if I'm only cutting from one side of the half, it could cut too much or too little on the back side. Too little I could probably fix pretty easily, but if it cuts too much, I can't put it back. Or it would not be easy, so then I would have to adjust and then cut more of the other side, and that just could be horribly bad. So, this is how I'm going to do this. I'm got everything lined up pretty good. I see this edge on the side is a little bit off, but I'm keeping that straight edge as straight as I can. And you can see here, there's probably about a 1/4 inch that sticks out on this side. And here, there's almost nothing that sticks out. And then down here, there's maybe not quite a 1/4 inch. But once it's done, it should be pretty consistent throughout. The other thing that you could do is using the lines on the ruler to help line up here. Now, because I am a beginner, and I'm not sure that you can even see this, I'm looking at the lines in the ruler and comparing them to the lines inside my quilt. In fact, let me take this so I can try to show you. Yeah, I got a little glare from the light. Okay, so this line here, which is the 2-inch line, and then if you look to the right of that line, you can see where the line on my quilt is a little bit outside that line. But if you look up here, following that same line, it's pretty spot on. It's got the 2 inches, but down here it's almost 2 and, 1/4 or so. So I know that my lines on this quilt are not perfect. I am extremely happy with the way it turned out. So it's really a matter of preference. And as I've said before, as I keep working on these projects, I keep getting a little better with each one. Eventually I'd like to do a quilt that's all like geometric shapes and things, which I know can be pretty advanced, because you have to make sure all your lines are good, and you make sure there's not too much bulk at your points and things like that. So it's going to take a while for me to get there. So I'm pretty happy with the way this is. So I'm going to put the camera back. Okay. All right. And I'll just pause this for a second. Okay, we're back. All right. Not that I even said I had left, but my son came down and asked me a question, so I had to pause it. Anyways, all right, so here we go. All right, so holding, and of course, as soon as I put my hand on it, the ruler shifts. Okay, so realigning myself here. And I could actually put the ruler up there to that corner. I'm not worried about the edge of that corner because all that piece is going to be cut off anyways. And I'm just trying to angle this camera so that it's just right. All right, so now, carefully, instead of what I had just done, and again, I apologize for the angle, but I haven't quite figured out where to put the camera so that you can see. Right, maybe let's do this. There. Okay. All right. Maybe that'll work better so you can see the cuts and everything. All right. So, firmly holding the ruler down and my rotary cutter. Now I'm going to run right off the edge here. And I'm pushing quite hard because I need a new blade. I did sharpen it, but it actually, I think I just need a new blade. I have been really trying to use this for a while. Okay, this, yeah, it didn't quite go through up here. Yeah, I just need to get a new blade. Okay, so now I'm near the bottom of the ruler. Okay, and that gave me a pretty decent cut. I have a little bit of, from where the edging was of the binding, right here. Again, I am not too worried about this, because once I put the binding on, I'm going to probably have a roughly 1/4 inch. So if I get a little bit of edge like that, not a big deal. All of that's going to get hidden away anyways. And I do see where up here I've got a pretty good 2 inches, just the way the ruler was showing me. But because my edging here is sort of bowed in a little bit, it's showing, it's showing that my framework here is a little bit wider in the middle than it is on the ends. On the ends, it's about where it should be, but I do not want to try and compensate for that because otherwise my edge here is going to be bowed in as well. It's just the way I sewed all my squares here to the edging. So this is actually, this edge is a true line, even though it doesn't quite look that way. So, all right, now we're going to adjust. Again, this is a top, so I should be able to get this done in 2 sections. So just moving this upwards. I'll put that off to the side. And shifting this up. Okay. All right. And now just realigning everything. So just putting my ruler at the top edge here where I know the line that I cut is true. And I'm lining that up so it is even and straight. And watching down here to make sure that I'm cutting just enough binding off to square things up. And I'm hoping, Okay, yep, you can see everything. Okay, so my true line up here, where it's cut, is all nice and square and straight with this line, and I'm coming down looking to make sure everything looks good all the way down. So firmly press down. Okay. And we're good. Okay, so that is my top line. All right, and then I'll probably just put the trimmings and put those off to the side and see if maybe there's something I can use those for, and some, you know, stuffing another project or something to that effect. But usually that doesn't end up happening. But on this one, there is going to be enough. There's going to be quite a bit of overage on here, so I'm sure I will keep this section and use it for something, even like handles on a bag or something like that, which I have been thinking about making another bag in that, because that was a very fun process. I've made a couple bags in the past. I do not think I have shown, I don't think I showed that. I made one bag, a jelly roll bag or tote. It was a big bag. And I actually did that one following along with Missouri Stars video. And I absolutely loved it. And then what ended up happening, I entered it into our fair and I won the category. So yeah, ever since then, that's sort of what really kicked me off into quilting again. When that happened, and I'm like, oh my God, how did that happen? Because it came out really well. So as soon as I locate that, because I actually use it for a lot of different things, so I got to figure out where it is right now. It's probably got a lot of stuff in it. So once I get that out, I'll have to show you how that came out, and maybe I'll do my own video on that, because it came out great. Okay, so I'm going to pause this. Okay, so now what I'm going to show is squaring up the next side. So this is one of the long sides. So basically the same thing as before. This is my cut side, the top side. And I am lining the top of the ruler with the top side that's cut where my true line is. And running this down here, I see there's a lot, it comes out here. So there is a little variation. This actually looks a lot better than that did. So it's only varying just a tiny bit, like 1/8 of an inch in the middle here on this side of the line, and about 1/8 on that side up here. So for me, that looks pretty darn good. So, okay. I'm going to hold it firmly with the ruler, opening my rotary cutter, starting at the top. Running right against the ruler, and still, I think I have a few nicks in this blade. That's why I know I need to actually replace it, because even the sharpener that I showed you, that can only do so much, and I have been using this blade for quite a long time, so it is time for a new one. All right. There. Okay. So that shows my nicely trimmed off corner on 2 sides up here. And now I'm just going to shift everything up. I always try to remember to close my blade when I'm not actually actively using it. And because I haven't actually cut myself, but I have come pretty close with not realizing that it was open. And looks like about the same. Okay. Now what I'm doing here is I'm using a line on the ruler and making sure that I am pretty well lined up on my lines, so I know I have true straight lines. So what I'm doing is I'm comparing, say, this line to the line on the quilt, and coming down this line to the line on the quilt, and I see there's variances, but again, I get better with each one. All right. Okay, see, that cut really well. All right. So that is my overage here. So I will put that in a scrap pile. Maybe use it for some handles sometime. So that is how I trim the quilt up. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to do the other two sides off camera, and then I'm going to hang it so you can see what it looks like. And then probably another day will be a video on binding it, and it will be done. So I'm not even going to say when that's going to be. I think if I may be jinxing myself if I actually say when, if I say, oh, I'll have it all done by next week or something, I'll jinx myself. So I'm not going to say that. But anyways, I will come back on this video. I'm going to pause this and do the other two sides off video and come back and show you what it looks like. Okay. Okay, here it is, all trimmed up and ready for binding. And before I forget, I just measured it. It is approximately, at this size, it is approximately 36 inches wide by 55 inches long. And I was thinking about it as I was finishing the trimming. I will probably do a video on making the binding once I figure out what I'm going to use to do that. And then, so it'll pretty much be two separate binding videos, one on how I make the binding and another one on actually binding the quilt itself. So those will be two future videos. Looks like I need that lint brush one more time. Actually, I was going to use that anyways because I got to do the back. I don't know if I can. This is what the back looks like. So it kind of has sort of a crinkle look to it. I see I got a couple of threads that I need to trim here. Other than that, I am pretty happy with how it's come out. Oops. Let's see. I have a cord in front of me because I had to keep the camera charged so I could do this. But yeah, so that is trimming the Farmall quilt. Been a long time, almost a year I think, since I started this project. And with any amount of luck, in the next year, it won't take me this long to do these projects. So please like and subscribe, and I will see you in the next one. Bye.